Welcome to For the Purpose Of, the podcast where we navigate the intersection of technology and the world of education. My name is Sarah Wood, and today I'm joined by
Keith Tramper. And today we're going to be short one voice. Catherine is not here. She is otherwise engaged. But we've had a really busy February and March, and we have not had a chance to record a podcast episode for a while, so we didn't want to push it off any longer. We're just going to do a kind of a quick, short episode here today, share some of the things that we've been doing and seeing around our county and our state, and get ready for MACUL. So MACUL is coming up soon. As we record this, it's next week, but we just wanted to give you something short and sweet to take with you to MACUL, and then we'll check in with you after MACUL as well. So Sarah, Catherine, and I have been going around to a lot of different schools in our area, and we've been having our educators take surveys around how they're using AI. So just to kind of continue on this theme that we've been on the podcast around AI, I thought we could just jump in and share some of the ways that these teachers are saying they're using AI. So, Sarah, do you want to start us out with one of the top things that teachers say?
Yeah, one that rose to the top of the list is using AI for writing support. So kind of thinking about generating essay introductions or conclusions, providing writing feedback, helping with revisions, and potentially even preventing plagiarism or detecting it. So tools like Class Companion, ChatGPT came up on that. So it's really exciting to hear how teachers are using it in that process, because ELA can be a tricky space for AI.
Yeah, for sure. I love that idea of like generating exemplars of here's what something really good for this assignment would look like. The second idea here that teachers are using AI for is reading and literacy. So they are doing things like creating decodable texts, creating phonics passages, comprehension questions, and just generating new ideas for activities they can use alongside of their reading. Specifically, Magic School and DIFIT were shouted out by teachers as tools that they really enjoy using for that.
The third one on our list, and is probably the one that I use AI for the most, is research and brainstorming. So really kind of using it as a tool to help students generate research ideas, maybe explore opposing viewpoints, refining project topics. I think that is just like the tipping point of how you can use AI with research and brainstorming, and love how they're dipping their toes in with that.
Yeah, the fourth one is AI as a learning tool. So some teachers are giving students the chance to kind of experiment with AI. They called out ideas like creating children's books, developing stories, even snowboard graphic designs. So using AI as a tool for creative supports for students.
I love that. Number 5 on our list is math and science, which I was also excited to see that on the list, as well as Keith and I are math people. But using it to provide example problems, word problems, and study guides. I know a lot of AI tools are not quite there yet on the math is just not mathing yet kind of thing. But that doesn't mean that you can't use it for those areas.
Yeah, I love that they can give context to problems like that. It's super helpful for math. Next one is number 6, interactive learning. So using AI to generate classroom discussion prompts, coming up with debate topics, even using it to sort of do research for project-based learning, and using tools like Notebook LM or Gemini to sort of get those conversations started and generate some of those materials and ideas.
And number 7 on our list was lesson planning and materials creation. And I honestly thought this was going to be a little bit higher, but I'm glad it made a top 10 list, so that's good. But doing things like developing lesson plans, worksheets, assignments, assessments, study guides, all those things that will really help you be more efficient and save you time in your teaching practice. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah. Number 8 sort of goes along with that, of creating rubrics and assessments. So we've actually been doing some work with Mike Maximchuk, who is our assessment guru at the ISD, and looking at ways that we can use AI to support durable assessment design. So things like creating rubrics, some self-assessment tools, even looking at things like AI assisted grading.
And then last on our list is email and communication. And I know that AI can be a really great digital twin assistant in this case to, help you do that. I've used it to here's my email that I'm going to send. Can you write it more professionally? Or, just kind of change the tone of that. And it's super helpful with that.
Yeah. So these are all different ways. I know we said top 10, but these are actually top 9, 9 things out of the survey. And one of the things we promote is the 80-20 rule, right? So even though teachers are using AI for all these really great ideas, it's rarely a copy and paste kind of situation, right? They're sort of using that to give them a head start and then adding their 20% to provide context for how it's going to be used.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say that maybe this still is a top 10 list
Ooh,
because for our podcast PDX reflection, we want to hear from you as far as what you're using AI for. So maybe you're using it for one of the things on our list already, or maybe you have the tool or the strategy or things that would fill in that number 10 spot for us.
yeah. So let us know what you're doing and what you'd like to know more about. Maybe we can feature how some of these things are actually taking place in the classroom. All you need to do is go over to bit.ly/FTPO mail and just submit a question or submit some information you would like us to talk about. So this survey, you heard some of the things that teachers are doing, but we have a lot of great other pieces of information that have come out of this survey. We've surveyed nearly 300 educators from Kent County, and about 73% of our districts in Kent County are participating so far. And as we survey, we ask them how excited they are and how experienced they are with AI. 44% said that they are somewhat or very excited about AI. 37% say that they feel somewhat or very experienced with AI. And then a total of about half, 49% of educators say that they're using AI.
So, in addition to the educator survey, we have put out a student survey as well. And this does require admin approval, and they should be the ones who are sending it out to students, but asking a lot of the similar questions that we ask to educators, but looking at it through the student lens with that. And so far, we have about 50% of our local districts participating so far. So it's great to hear that student voice. And as we were going through those, we found that where educators were 44% being somewhat excited, students are only 23%. So I love that we're seeing that educator interest is a little bit higher, because when they get more interested and they try different things, then that translates down to the students. And pretty close to how educators said that they were feeling about being somewhat or very experienced with AI. Students, we had about 32% of students that said that they were feeling that same way. So it's kind of nice to know that they're kind of on that same level of excitement about it. And that's always good, because we want to look at things through a critical lens and not just jump in, like how Keith mentioned, really acknowledging that 80-20 rule with things, and that 20% can be that critical thinking. And we also had 58% of students say that they are using AI. Where educators responded, only 49% of them were using AI. So our students are using it. We need to be aware of this. We need to learn how to prepare them for the future and equip them with those necessary AI skills to help them be successful inside and outside of school. And then finally, we asked a question to both educators and students about kind of where do they draw the line with cheating. And we used Matt Miller's 12-point system for this and asked them to rate it, where 1 is being very on the human end and 12 being very AI centered. And the response that was ranked most highly by both teachers and students were actually the same. And they rated that 8 scale. So they're leaning more towards that AI integration, where they feel that line that they draw it is where students write bullet points, and that AI will then write the draft from those bullet points. And so that's really fascinating to think about that our teachers and students are on the same page where they kind of draw that line.
Yeah, that's interesting because I know we've been trying to keep our pulse on this for a little while. And originally, as the data was coming in, we were seeing students were feeling concerned that they were going to be accused of cheating with AI, right? That if they even touched AI, it would be considered cheating. So they were actually rating themselves lower than the teachers, but it looks like now we're starting to kind of even out right at that level 8. So kind of in the middle, maybe a little above the middle of not everything we do with AI is cheating, right? There's lots of different ways that AI can be used to support learning and not cheat.
And we always just say AI is another tool in your teaching and learning toolbox.
Yep.
It's not the way to do things. And you always have to keep that 80-20 rule into play with that. And so, to help kind of support how educators are using that now that we know where they're at, we have started to create some prompt sheets for administrators as well as educators. Where if you're someone going, I would love to use AI to help me with communication or behavior supports, I just don't know where to begin. And so we've created some prompt sheets for you that give you the prompts, the basic bare bones prompts, and you insert your content. So with these sheets, we just want to reiterate the fact that we never enter any personally identifiable information. So never put students' information in there, their names, anything that could eventually come back, because anything that you put in there could potentially be used as training data for the future. But these sheets are meant to kind of help prompt your thinking, get your process going, start that conversation with your tool that you're using.
Yeah. And another resource that I think we've shared on the podcast before is our AI pack and plays. So these pack and plays are essentially chunks of our workshops, our presentations, some of the ideas that we share. We've kind of pulled out into short, like 20 to 30-minute maybe activities that you can use with your staff, possibly with your students at like PLC meetings or staff meetings, or wherever there's an opportunity for conversation around AI. This just sort of helps get you started. So just a few of the ones we've created, because we've been adding a lot here, are just like a basic, here's how AI works, exploring some of the possibilities and risks with AI, what AI fabrications are, AI ethics, using AI for good, plagiarism, prompt engineering, selecting the right AI tools, data stewardship, computational thinking, creating an ethical chatbot, tutoring, deepfakes, and disinformation. And we're just continuing to add more. I know we've got a couple more on the docket that we're each taking and building as we go. So we do hope that you'll use those. The website for that we'll put in the show notes, but it's bit.ly/AI pack and play.
And then kind of building off that too, I know we've talked about this before, is our data privacy and safety checks. This is something that I am constantly updating, adding new tools to be checked, completing those checks. We just want this to be up to date and relevant and help educators make informed decisions about the tools that they are using with students, especially those. There's a lot of questions with what tools can I use for 13 and under, and even 13 to 18. So we've kind of aggregated that out for you. If you want to hear more about that and how that's structured and everything, we'll put a link in the show notes to a podcast that I was a guest on for Saginaw ISD that really broke down everything on that data and privacy check sheet. And then the big question that I feel like is becoming more and more prevalent that we're hearing from more so from district leaderships is, how do I begin this work? Where do I start? It just seems very overwhelming. And that work can look differently in each district. We have put together a pathway to AI guidance where we kind of have 11 different suggested steps for kind of getting going, really breaking down into what do you need to do for guidance and policy? How about organizational learning or improvement and transformation? Some of those things to just get you going so that you can start to wrap your head around what might AI look in my district or my school or even down to my classroom.
Yeah, and this is a really great resource that we've sort of modified off of the Teach AI Toolkit and Michigan Virtual's framework for adopting AI. And both are really great resources. And we've worked with a number of our local schools on building this pathway to AI guidance. And I think one of the things, just to continue on to what Sarah said, is, most districts are sort of working their way through this, starting to generate ideas and start to build guidance for teachers and students on how AI can be used in the classroom and what's okay and what's not. But if your district is not, that's okay, but the conversation really needs to get started, because the longer we wait, the more the digital divide between your students and students in neighboring districts widens. So it's really important that we're all getting on top of this, and hopefully these resources that we're sharing today can really help you move forward on that path. Just on that same note, we do have a bunch of different local examples of what our districts have created as far as AI guidance goes. We also have a bunch from around the state. We've got some samples from those Teach AI toolkits and Michigan Virtual that we mentioned, as well as some from other states in the US. So North Carolina has a really great resource around generative AI. There's Southern Regional Education Board has some good stuff. That's a lot of the southern states kind of work together on building some AI guidelines. And then Anglophone East also has a really great guidance document that you can use with your schools to help keep this moving forward and see what other districts are doing as it comes to developing guidance for AI in your schools.
I know that was a lot of information that we just kind of spit out and shared with you, and a lot of it will require you to go to our show notes, but we guarantee it will be worth the offline look and checking out those resources. And with that, we'll give you a little bit of break, and we'll be back after our commercial break.
Keith, Sarah, Catherine, diving in deep, stories untold in every word they speak. For the purpose of they search for truth, uncovering meaning with AI on the move. For the purpose of la-di-da-di-da. Ooh.
Hey there, Michigan educators. Want to see how AI can actually be used to make learning more engaging for your students? Then join us for the AI Summit at Ken ISD on May 12th, 2025 from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. This isn't just another conference where someone speaks at you. This is about student engagement, after all. Be ready to explore real strategies for student-centered learning, relationships, and classroom climate as it relates to AI. And the best part? Our keynote speaker will be sharing the stage with our high school-age daughter to show how AI is helping students with dyslexia thrive. Seats are limited, so don't wait. Register now at bit.ly/AI Summit 25-REG and be part of the conversation on how AI can support student engagement. We'll see you there.
All right, welcome back. We are, in the spirit of keeping things short and sweet, we are just going to give you the PDX reflection question for this episode, which is, which example do you want to know more about? Or what resource are you most excited about? Submit your response for sketches at bit.ly/FTPO PDX.
And that's it for this episode of For the Purpose Of, and we appreciate you tuning in today. If you like this podcast, we'd love for you to share it with a friend.
If you have a question, we'd love to hear it. You can go over to bit.ly/FTPO mail, and you can always reach out to us and find all things EdTech at bit.ly/IamEdTech. We'll catch you next time on For the Purpose Of.
This podcast is a service of Kent ISD and is produced by Keith Tramper, Sarah Wood, and Catherine Fredrickson. Edited by Keith Tramper. Original jingle music by Catherine Fredrickson. Our theme music is Neon Nights by Scott Holmes Music, and our ad music is Vienna Beat by Blue Dot Sessions. AI in your face today. Sorry, it's a Friday.
Is there anything in this world besides AI?
Not in our world.